Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Hi, I'm Kim,
And I'm Torah.
and this is our podcast, Kicking It with Kimm and Torra. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
And
I I just want to get right into our topics because it is so much going on in the news. I've been watching CNN, Fox, and I have them all together on the TV so I can like click over which one I want to listen to. And I've been listening to MSNBC, Fox News, and CNN. I could not wait to talk to you about this. Remember when Trump used to say, fake news, fake news?
mhm,
He was not lying. He was not lying. I'm watching them make up stuff. I'm watching them use clips and snippets of him saying stuff when I know I've already looked at it on like social media. The whole entire speech had nothing to do, and they're making it look like he's saying stuff against racism and race. And I'm like, did they not forget what Joe Biden did to the African American family, calling us super predators and saying stuff along the line that, lock them up, get rid of them, throw away the key? Like, I didn't forget this. I woke up. Yes, I was asleep at the wheel for a long time with the Democratic Party. I am no longer asleep, but I am watching, and I feel so like bad because I'm one of those people who's like, oh my God, if you don't stop it with that fake news. And now I'm watching the news and I'm like, that's not true. I just watched that whole speech that he did on social media, and CNN and MSNBC will take snippets of a speech he says that has nothing to do with anything and make it seem like he's saying something against um okay, so I we've already discussed on our last show about how we have an issue with the border.
mhm.
Okay, and someone DM me because I guess they watched our show and they said, "Do I have problems with the Hispanic race?" Or I
And
said,
they
"No."
the ones, yes, not all
I
of them.
said, I have an issue with the policies that you all are able to come over here and receive when we've been banging on this door forever. I said, so I had to break it down to this person. I had to say, well, it's almost like if you have two children and you constantly spoil one, you do everything for one and you don't do anything for the other, right? Don't you think that other child should speak up sometime and say, what about me? I'm your child too. I said, well, so this is what we're talking about when we are saying, I don't have anything against the border and Spanish people and all of that.
Well, I do. So DM me. I have a problem with immigrants illegally
Mhm,
crossing our border. I
mhm,
don't feel that it's two children and one's getting
mhm,
the benefit. I feel that it's one legitimate child,
mhm,
that being Black Americans whose ancestors have been in this country for
mhm,
generations.
mhm.
And then there's like some foster kid that
Yeah,
has walked across the border,
yeah.
and now the parent in this analogy or metaphor,
Mhm.
the parent is giving all the resources to the foster kid and excluding
That's
the
true.
natural born child.
That's
Now,
true.
I don't have a problem with Latinos, Hispanics per se. They're
Mhm.
in the country legally. If I go visit your country, because I
Right.
like to go to those
Mhm,
kinds of islands, I've been
mhm.
to Puerto Rico. I like all that. So
Me
if
too.
I'm in your land or you're properly in mine, I don't have a problem with you, but I have a problem with the mass influx of immigrants that has overwhelmed our country and that the Democrats are trying to essentially replace us with. Now, getting back to the news, and I'm just talking loud because I started to realize on our videos, my voice is so small. I need to speak up. But I agree. I mean, I don't watch the election, so I wasn't aware of what you're saying, but
Mhm,
I wholeheartedly believe you because when I do my research for my
mhm,
YouTube videos, I do not utilize CBS, ABC,
never again.
MSNBC. I might refer to a written article they do,
Mhm.
but I never go to their newscast because I don't trust them.
I don't either.
And what makes me believe you even more, although I do because I don't trust those
Mhm.
sources, is the fact that Trump is winning. They
Yep.
know that Black Americans are sick to death of Biden. And so they're trying to say things to make African Americans walk away from voting for Trump. But it is too little, too
Too
late.
little late.
Like somebody was telling me, yeah, he proposed a some date I went on. He last weekend. Biden proposed a solution for the border, but the Republicans voted it down. Too little, too late. It is March. The elections are in November. He's been in
What we got,
office
like
for the
240 days?
majority of
No.
his term, and now he
Yep.
wants to propose a solution. We don't care. I don't care who voted it down. I don't care if it passes. I'm looking around at all the devastation that his immigrant policies
Yep. Yep.
cause in our country. Now, don't come for me because I'll come back. If I don't send for you, don't come for me.
That's
But
what I'm talking
have
about.
a legitimate
Absolutely.
comment, put it in the comments and we can have a conversation. But
Mhm.
DMs, I mean, I meant what I just said.
I meant what I said too, because I really do have issues with just how they've been spoiled. I mean, I just recently heard that they're giving 40,000 instead of 10,000. You know, all of these thousands, and my thing was um, that referring back to the lies, they were making it seem like, well, if you think that that the Hispanics are coming over here and receiving all of this and all that. Basically, Trump is going to do this and do that for them, and I was like,
Trump
that's
is
a
not having
lie.
it. Trump
That
is
is a
not
lie.
having it. We already know. I personally don't want him as our president.
No, but we have no
I
choice.
don't want Biden. I don't want either of them, but Biden has got to go. We already had Trump. We already know he's not playing with the border. He's not playing with illegal immigration. He's not playing with any of that. So they can miss us all
And
with
they are
time.
so trying to pull the race card with us. And I just pray so many black people don't get, well, I don't believe they're going to get afraid anyway, because they literally took a camera, something that you and I want to be able to do in the
Oh
future is go
yeah.
out on the street. Well,
Yeah.
they went out on the street and they were asking Gen Z, Gen X, they were asking all of them. They were asking millennials. They were asking everyone. So who are you voting for, Biden or Trump as of today? Every single black person in Washington, D.C. said that they interviewed was like Trump, Trump, Trump. They was like, oh,
Because
we
we
done
all
with
see
Biden.
what Biden has done to us, and
I
we've
was like,
been,
so
not
proud.
we, because I'm not part of it, but
Mhm.
Black folk have been slaves to the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party that makes promises and never delivers, that sometimes won't even make a promise. They wouldn't even meet with Ice Cube and other people who had contracts for America. They were like, see me after the election. So they
Yep,
disregard us and they count on the fact that we think Republicans are racist, which
yep.
they may or may not be.
And
And
they are
every single
too. The Democrats
election,
are
we're
racist
going to vote
too.
for them. Even if they are racist, at this point, they can't be any worse than these devil Democrats.
Please.
They just can't be worse than that.
So
So we all need to be aware that back when, and I agree with you, back when he was saying fake news, I was like, man, go ahead with that mess. But I have since learned that those sources are
yep,
not to be trusted.
yep.
In fact, I still am planning to do a longer video on a different channel, on my channel, on Haiti. And in researching that, I specifically ignore CNN, MSNBC, ABC,
Mhm.
all of those, because they make stuff up and it is their intent to make.
And sway the audience to be whatever they want them to be. And I'm so disgusted by that, because I mean, I don't, it makes you mad, because it's like when you heard all those people talking like this, I was like, they are crazy. And now I probably sound crazy because
No,
I
you
know
don't.
the truth now. I'm like, oh my God, this is a lie.
You don't sound crazy. And if I see it, I'm not even a TV watcher. If I can see it too, and you're watching TV and you can see it, and both of us see it, I'm thinking a lot of people out here in our country are
And that's what
aware.
made me feel like secure when I told my children, I said, okay, we're no longer part of the Democratic Party anymore. We're not. And they're like, no, we're not. We change. I said, so Victoria's like, I'm a Republican. I said, yep, you're a Republican too now. She's like, oh, well, when did I become? I said, when I sent your paperwork in.
Oh, you sent that, you changed your party for real.
Yeah, when they send the mail to our house, I make them sign it because I always say that I check off the vote for them and everything, and then I sign it so they can vote. But then now I was just like, no, y'all sign it when y'all came home, and I told them, okay, you're Republican now.
So
They were,
that means that you can, so a lot of blacks who are, and this is important to note, a lot of blacks who are still Democrats can, of course, go to the election polls in
still
November and
vote for
vote
Trump.
Republican. But
Mhm.
if you have changed the party election for your
Yep.
family, then you guys can also vote in the Republican primary.
Mhm.
So that if there's Trump and other people, you can go and vote there too.
Yep. Yep.
Democrats
Actually,
can't vote
I
in the
was so
Republican primary.
disgusted that black people came out in abundance to put this man in office, and he basically was like, kick rocks.
Yeah, he doesn't
You
care
know,
about it. He's a
I
racist. He's
cannot
definitely a
believe how
racist.
blatant that was. Though it really felt like a relation. Like I saw everybody rapping and singing and at their concerts, and we're gonna make history. And you can't get this. And every black person I know and their grandmother came out the woodwork to make sure he got. And he just did nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Not a tax break that was just for black folks. Not a
Oh, and his vice
nothing.
president, Miss Lady from background from India and Jamaica, came on there and said, "Are we going to do something specifically for black folks? No, we'll do something for low income and it'll impact. We don't want that. You
Well,
don't have a problem
but
doing
that
something
impacts everybody who's
specifically.
low income. That's not specific for us.
They do something specifically for LGBTQ.
They did. And the
They do
Asians
something
got their law.
specifically for Israel. They do something specifically for Ukraine, but they can't do anything specifically for blacks. We don't want them anymore. We would take our chances with the other devil because they're both devils.
Oh
But
yeah.
this devil has already shown us that he don't give a darn
You
about.
don't care. And if you ride with him, he gonna show up for you.
But
And I think he gonna show up.
as I mentioned before, I know a lot of people who love Biden, who will shout me down every
My
time I
mom,
say that Biden's a problem. And really, most of the stuff I haven't paid a lot of attention to, but what I have been impacted by is the immigrant crisis. And he's got to go.
he's
He's
ready
got
to
to
send another
go.
what, 300 million over?
Yeah, it's over. In my opinion, he's
Enough.
got to
You know
go.
what that would do with my kids' college right now? Like if he would just give that money to us. Like literally, I get sick in my stomach thinking about how he just giving this money, like finding all this money to give to them, and
The
as if we
governors,
aren't over here fighting for our lives.
the state governors and the city mayors are doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing and they're getting out too. Black folk are angry. Black folk on YouTube, on TikTok, black folks have had it up to here. And I
Yeah,
think a lot of people that have been taking our votes for granted are going to have a rude, and they're telling them, we're kicking you out of office.
yep,
That lady in Chicago,
yep,
people are telling them, you're done. We're done
yep.
with you. You're out. You won't be here the next time. But
Won't be
what
here.
about Haiti? I mean, that is such a
Did you read about how they said they
tragedy.
opened up the prisons and let out their criminals, and how there was a gang leader who just took over? Like I saw him, like I researched him because at first I was like, "What? Who's this guy they talking
Kind of the
about?"
one they call barbecue.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and he didn't. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't look like who I thought he was gonna look like. He was very facially, there. I thought he was gonna be a little,
Devils look. I'm not saying he's a devil, but let me just say something different. Good people and bad people can both be attractive. Good people and bad people can both be
that is
unattractive.
true.
So
That is true.
but there is a human tendency to view good-looking people as
True.
good people. I
True.
try not to do that, but it is a human tendency. It's an innate
Because
tendency that we
I was looking in his eyes and looking at his face to see the violence that I heard that he's, bringing into the country, or not bringing into the country, but laying upon the country. And I just was like, dang, I don't see it. Are you are you sure? I mean, I'm quite sure I believe him, but I'm like, you just don't fit the profile.
I believe it because I saw some other people around the world talking about it, and I really was looking on TikTok to see
Mhm.
any actual Haitians, but I haven't seen anything
No, I think they
because
are free. Not even Wyclef.
normally everyday people will come on and tell you about what's going on in their country. I haven't seen
Mhm.
anything at all, but I think that Haiti is a really complicated situation because the politicians initially would create and utilize gangs for their purposes. And now what has happened is with barbecue,
Mhm.
I can't
Barbecue.
remember his
Yep.
real name,
I was
something,
trying to
but with
find his real
him,
name, but it's hard for me to pronounce, so I wouldn't
it
even be
is,
able to do it.
yes, French. And so with him, he has joined together a number of separate gangs and now they're working in tandem. And
That's
in
what I.
terms,
That's what scared me because they've got ruthless gangs over there. That want to. I thought they were doing it as a change the whole economy. Like, look, we're tired of the French or whoever owns us, our dollars. We want to be independent of them. I thought that's what it was for. And it's like, no, they're wreaking havoc on their own people.
I do think that's what it's for because that Prime Minister
Okay,
Henry,
once again, fake news. I heard it from fake news probably. So if that's what you're saying, that it is, they do want to just have their independence and they're not just trying to hurt their own people, then I need to believe that.
well, I mean, I think it's both. They wanted to get rid of the prime minister that was not elected. Remember that
Mhm.
president they had, Moise,
But
see,
they unalived they
MOISE.
unalived the other president.
They unalived him because him, like Magufuli in Tanzania, there were a couple
He
of
was not
rulers
letting
that
that
were like, I'm
vaccine come in
not
this
doing the
country.
whole jibby jab, whatever that stuff
Yeah,
is.
he was
And
not
they
letting
took
that vaccine
both of
come.
them out. They took
Uh,
Magufuli in Tanzania out. They took Moise,
mhm.
Moise. I don't really know how to pronounce these names in French, but they took him out. And then this Prime Minister Henry was allowed to step in to fill the void, but he was supposed to be out of there in February of
He
this
was
year
still there.
and hold elections. So then they went berserk because this is a puppet of the West and they
Mhm.
don't want him anymore. And also with that jailbreak thing, I saw that too, where they said like 4,000 people, criminals were released. But then I saw a Haitian scholar who is, I think she's in the UK, but she's in another country, but she's a Haitian scholar. She said a part of the problem with their jail system is that people are in there, both people who are guilty and
I
who are not,
did see that.
that there's
Haven't been
no
tried, haven't had a court date. I did see that.
they have no idea when they'll get one.
Yeah.
And so, as with everything else, it's just not as
Now
black
that part
and
did
white.
rub me wrong. I was like, "What?" When I heard that he was opening it up to mainly people who have been wronged by the criminal justice system. It wasn't like he just opened up and let all. I did see one article where it said that.
Well, I mean, now she said that about people in jail, but truthfully, I think he opened it up to get those gang members out.
That's what I think too.
Yeah, and I think that everybody else benefited. They just
Uh,
opened it wide up, and then the people who are wrongfully there or don't have due process have gotten out too.
uh,
But he wanted to get his comrades, I'm thinking.
I'm 100% thinking he wanted to get his friends out of there so they can help him with his military.
I think it's really complicated, though. I think that, Haiti is that one country in the world. Now, Ethiopia resisted colonization. That's the one country in the world
Yeah,
that was never colonized.
yeah.
Haiti is that one country in the world that fought the French and fought. I mean, not, oh, you're gonna
Yeah.
grant it. No, they beat them down and took their independence.
Mhm.
So always the West wants
Wasn't that what's his name? The one they also unalive? What's his name?
who?
The Haitian not Marcus oh gosh, what is
Toussaint?
it? Yes.
Well, I think that the West always wants to keep Haiti destabilized, keep Haiti poor, and paint Haiti in the poorest light because we don't want other people. I mean, there's no independence to fight for. I mean, it is technically, but on paper, every state's independent. But I just think that they are so outdone with what Haiti was able to
But they
do.
said you're free, but you gotta owe us for the rest of your life. You gotta pay us. Like what?
The other French
What?
countries in Africa are doing that too, and sending
Mhm.
their money to France, and then they have to ask to borrow their own money. There's a which country, one of those presidents over there in Africa was like, we're not doing that. We don't want that anymore.
I did hear that. I did
Yeah,
hear that. Yep.
these Westerners, these
The globe,
colonizers
because
have
of
been
social
showing
media
out
and
all
work.
over the globe, and people are just done. But for Haiti,
Uh-uh.
I I'm still researching it, but I just think it's a really complicated story, and I don't know what the answer would be. Okay, so now, so the Prime Minister Henry was backed by the U.S.
Of
So
course.
so now when they have just overtaken the country, won't let him back in, all of that. Now the U.S. has forced him to step down.
Mhm.
But then what? I mean, where do we go from there? Okay, now he's not coming back. He stepped down. What's the solution now?
You
I
can't have the
think,
gang member running stuff.
you know what? That guy might have political aspirations and might want to be president. I mean, I heard he's brutal. The name barbecue, he said, came from the fact that his mom used to own a chicken stand.
Oh,
But
okay.
people are saying no, he has a reputation for burning his enemies alive, and that's why they call him barbecue. So he would probably be a brutal
I'm
dictator.
definitely gonna look that face back up again tonight. I need to see it.
He doesn't look
He doesn't
he
look like
doesn't look dastardly. You know what I mean?
no, he doesn't.
And then there is the fact everything is just not what it seems. There's the fact that he's from one of the poorest slums
Yep,
in Haiti, and
yep,
he was saying, we're sick of this, where
yep.
these little group of people over here get to have all the money, all the riches, and everybody else is suffering.
He said
So
it.
it's not clear cut, but
He said he didn't want any of the Caucasians there. They just came over there and they're buying up the waterfront properties and putting their homes on. They're like, we are out here struck. I'm like, they do it everywhere.
and what was it? I think the United Nations peacekeeping team had essayed girls and women over there. They finally admitted they brought cholera over there about a decade ago or so, a decade
No,
ago or so.
really?
It's horrific, but I just really am concerned about them and hoping that they can find it's a mess. And he was saying, if you don't get rid of Henry, or they might call him Henri because they're French, but he was saying, if you don't get rid of him, it's going to be a civil war.
Oh,
What
it
I'm
is.
trying to figure out is a civil war on what? Nobody there. We Now that's what you just gonna start killing your own people because
Yeah.
the West has a leader. You don't. Why would that lead to civil war?
I believe that the military that they have is not for their country. I think it's deployed from our country to make sure that their country stay in line.
I don't think
I
they
think
have a
that's
military. I
they
think
have to have a military.
they
Wasn't
only
it
have
the
a
military
police
who
force.
unalived that guy?
They only have a police
Wasn't it?
force. Say it again.
Wasn't it the police force that the military and the police force that helped cover up the president who was unalive because he didn't want
I thought it was the police. I thought they had stopped them from having a military and they only had police, but you could be right. I never hear anything about the military. If they have a military, why aren't they attacking the gangs? They only talk about the police being outmanned and outweaponed and all of that. I hope so. I'm keeping my eye on that. I hope something good happens because I'm just concerned. And I typically don't feel so concerned about non-American countries because I think they can just handle their business, get it together. But this one just seems
would
something's
I be
about.
crazy to say like when George Floyd, rest in peace, um, how the world came together and you saw all these marches? What happened? Like, did that ignite like so many people saying like life isn't fair and we're not standing for this? Because don't you seem like it's an uprise of a lot of countries like this is not fair. We're not standing for this unfairness anymore.
I think that Haiti has always been off the chain.
Really?
Yeah, that's how they kicked the French out in the first place. They are some fighters. But I think that I agree with you that there is
Mhm.
a global awakening
It
among
is.
melanated people in particular who are like,
Mhm.
we've had it. But I think it's part of the age of enlightenment. I don't think that it's
Due to
anything
what?
from
Social media?
no, through the universal change where all the truths are coming out, everything is
They say
changing.
it's
We have
400 years is up.
we entered a new age. We were in the age of
This is
uh
Aquarius.
right, we were in the age of Pisces, now we're in the age of Aquarius, and that brings a whole new set of
Yeah.
things. And I think that us over here in America waking up like, what? You Democrat? What? You lied
You know,
about
I was
everything
afraid at
from
first.
hmm?
I was afraid at first.
Oh, you were?
I was afraid to wake up. I
Oh, girl, I've been
literally,
awake for a long time.
I'm not gonna lie, I was under the sheets. I was afraid. I was afraid
Why?
to wake up. I didn't even want to know. But then when I did, it hit me in the gut. Like when I thought about like how they just sabotaged our whole race and put it right in front of our face that they just don't care about us.
But why were you afraid? What were you afraid of?
Because I thought living in the happy medium
Mm.
was comfortable
Like
and I didn't
ignorance
want
is bliss kind of thing?
to.
That
Yeah.
kind of thing? I don't
Yeah.
mean to say
No,
ignorance.
I
I'm
know
not
what you
saying
mean
that,
though.
but you
No,
know
I
what
know
I mean.
exactly what you mean, but that's true. It's
Okay.
true.
I've been aware for a really long time.
Really.
I have
Even
over
raise
a
my kids.
decade.
They raised me. They
Over
raised me to
I
wake
had
up.
to tell my kids, but over a decade, I've known about a lot of this stuff, starting out with David Icke over a decade ago.
Ooh.
But I had a practice of
Mhm,
not really talking about it with very many people, just people I knew could understand, because it's so mind blowing
mhm,
that people are just like, what? That girl, what? She said, what? So there's some friends I have and acquaintances who are awake as well. And I hate that they took over the term woke and made it something
oh,
negative. But I've have friends and acquaintances who are also aware, and we talked about it forever
mhm.
because it is not a comfortable topic for many people, but it's gaining I mean, it's gaining. More people are talking to me about it than, and I'm like, what? You think that? Well, let me tell you this,
Yes,
because people are waking up. It's the age of enlightenment. And I think
because
that it's all across the globe. That's what's happening.
and my thing is this that the well the demise of the black family already was done, right? So then
Mhm.
we became successful one-on-one, like successful black women, successful white women, I mean black men with white women, they became successful. So of course you're like, okay, so you have this Caucasian woman, black man, and you're very successful. That was the only way you could become successful. And then you have this black woman who's left all alone with these kids. Now she's raising successful children and herself, and she's becoming successful. Now the black man all of a sudden is like, hold on, I want the sister back. She's doing
I
her
wish they would say that, because when I'm hearing them being passport bros and all that, and they don't want our attitude, and black women are too masculine. But as Dr. Umar said, because you left us here to
thing.
handle the race by ourselves, we're
Mhm.
almost out of time though. And I think that we have to talk about the TikTok ban,
Oh God. They voted
the
on it.
efforts of the United States
Yeah,
government to ban TikTok and prevent us from
yeah.
being able to use TikTok anymore. What in the world?
I still take it back to race. I think so many African Americans and Black people and Africans, just say Black, whatever this shade is, are making so much effort and money through this media. They have to shut it down. They're pretending like it's poisoning our brains and we're getting false information, whatever. Why are you even talking about a social media platform that doesn't allow any nudity, barely hardly any cursing, and you're literally saying that it's stealing our info? What information? We have no information. Everything is out there now.
So
So
you
my thing
think
is
it's
this.
about black folk making money?
I truly believe it.
You know what I
I've
think
seen
it's about?
so there's a African guy who's the number one TikToker in the world.
Oh,
And
yeah, he just comes on there and makes a face or whatever, yeah.
and he is killing it. And I just think they're like, oh no, we got to ban this thing. We got to get rid of it. And I'm just like, really? Once again, when we start stepping up, here comes Rosewood again. Here
You
comes
know what
Black
I
Wall
think it's
Street again.
about? I think it's about the age of enlightenment, because it's not just black people, there are white people on there showing you those weird statues behind the Hoover Dam out there in
Yeah.
Arizona.
Oh no. I know
Yeah,
where.
there are people coming on there talking about the white people. I mean, okay, let me say this, white people and black people, but right now I'm just highlighting white people because not only are we waking up, they're waking up. They're
Oh
coming
yeah.
on there talking about how our own history is false,
Mhm.
talking about how the food here is toxic.
Oh my God! Did you see that about the toxic food? They are just there's a ban on all cereals right now. They've dropped, the stock has dropped. I think last night it was 16%.
But you know, they're boycotting them not because of the toxicity, even though it is toxic.
Mhm.
They're boycotting them because the president of Kellogg came on somewhere, the news, social media,
Mhm.
or something, and said, I know that times are hard for Americans, but cereal is still a good price. You guys should start eating cereal for dinner. And it pissed everybody off. They had already raised their prices
I thought that was a joke.
27%.
That was real.
That was real, and
He really did say that. I thought that was a social
that's why
media.
they're boycotting, also because they have raised their prices 27% for no known reason, because every corporation across the world,
I
the
heard that all
multinational
of them. I heard they was
corporations,
a ban on
are
McDonald's.
making profits out
Everybody.
the yin yang and still keep raising prices and
Yep.
decreasing sizes and all
Yep.
of that. But everybody's waking up. And remember, I said when I went to learn about Haiti, the first place I went to was TikTok,
Yep.
because TikTok is where everyday people from all around the world get on there and tell you their truth. The
Yeah.
news can't lie to us anymore because we can get on TikTok and say, that's not what's happening. Well, that whole place is flooded. I'm not seeing that on the news. Well, so I think they want to shut it down because we're too awake on there. I used to watch TikTok all the time. I learned a ton of stuff
I do
on
too.
TikTok. I'm more YouTube. I go back and forth. Now I always watch YouTube videos too. I haven't been on TikTok that much lately, but I think that's why they want to shut it down. But I think that would be detrimental.
I
This is
definitely want
our
to have
time.
my goddaughter, my niece slash goddaughter on here and talk about hopefully we can get her on soon to talk about HBCUs,
Oh,
because
great.
there's a new trend going on where people are talking about how horrible they are, underfunded, the treatment that they get. This one girl, she said her somebody, what happened to my son too, but someone in her family had died, and her advisor or her teacher professor told her if she goes to the funeral she'd fail the class, and that's exactly what happened to my son. But I thought he was
I
being,
bet you he would have gone to that funeral if I was
well,
around.
it was his dad, so he definitely went.
And I bet you that school would have had a problem. But you know what? I agree. Both of my kids, my son graduated from an HBCU. My daughter's in her last year at an HBCU now. And there is some horridness that
Yep.
goes on with those. But I'm going to tell you what, I went to two PWIs.
Mhm.
There's some heck of a lot of stuff that will
Mhm.
happen to you there.
Mhm.
They may be more organized, better communication, but you are a black person, very few among very many whites.
Yeah.
And I specifically told my kids, feel free. I prefer you go to an HBCU because I already went through all that racism BS and you don't have to do it. So I would love to talk to your niece. Maybe we could have my son and my daughter chime
Absolutely.
in
Absolutely.
and tell us but you know what? I tell you what, you get through it and those degrees work for you. My son's a
That's what my
reporter.
last part of my conversation. I told her, I said, well, the part, because she left Morgan early, and I told her, I said, because Steve left Howard early, and went over to UDC to get his degrees
That's
because
an HBCU too. UDC is an HBCU.
it is, but they have a lot of, you know.
And now judges are ordering that the HBCU in Alabama to bring more white people in. That it's a
Right.
mess. They don't want us to have anything, but I would just say that
Mhm.
when you get that degree, you get through whatever you get
Yeah.
through, they teach
Yeah.
you. It's just all the BS
Yep.
surrounding it, but you
Yep.
get through it, you get that degree.
And
That
it
my
makes you
son is a
stronger.
reporter and anchor at
Mhm.
a major news corporation. My daughter's going to be she's going to go on for a PhD, but I think that that degree will serve her well.
Congratulations.
Well, it hasn't happened yet, but I mean that's the plan. But
Oh,
thank
but
you.
that's an amazing goal.
Yeah, it is. And so I think that I want to hear what the young folks say, but my position is probably going to be deal with it, get through it, because it's a whole bunch of BS at a PWI. And when you have that paper in your hand, it'll do what you need it to do. So wherever you go, you're going to have to get through some mess. But we are out of time, dear. I don't even know that we got to our topics because we go where the conversation
Mhm.
takes us, which is
Mhm.
exactly what we probably should be doing.
Mhm.
And we appreciate you guys for watching us, sticking
Absolutely.
with us. We encourage you to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, drop comments. Don't DM me, comment. You'll disagree with what I said, put it in the comments and we'll talk about it.
Absolutely.
And we just appreciate all the support.
And thank you for kicking it with Kim and Torra.
See you next time.
See you next time.